Tweet space, the point or the objective of that space was a space for normies. And they kept talking about Antifa without a real understanding of where it started, what it really is, what they're up to. And I should know where to begin, but could you finish your thought?
She said that she was possessed by a demon once. She's insane.
Okay, so just so everyone can follow along, because you may not know they may not know what you're referring to. I was just listening in on a space, kind of just passively, not really paying too much attention. So I was finishing off my Thiel thread, preparing for this one. I just sometimes like to hear some background noise, and that's really all I heard. A bunch of noise, not very well structured. I really couldn't figure out what the point or the objective of that space was, a space for normies. And they kept talking about Antifa without a real understanding of where it started, what it really is, what they're up to. And they were starting to sort of figure it out, and then identifying just symptoms of the bigger problem in America. So yeah, in terms of my thought, I was just asking the girl, just kind of through the Socratic method to see if she'd have the audacity to actually, tell the truth about who controls capital, who controls cash in America, who's causing the inflation and this ridiculous cost of living that's been imposed on Americans. And of course, she doesn't have the balls. Now, what I heard in that space multiple times was, there's a Muslim problem. There could be Sharia law. We need to deal with that. We need to get rid of Ilhan Omar. She needs to be naturalized. Mamdani can't be mayor of New York. Okay, I don't really care too much about any of those issues. And there's maybe, I think, 3 or 4 Muslims, 5 or 6 in Congress out of how many congressmen? 435. And then, how many mayors in New York are there? Muslims are less than 1% of the population. What positions of power do they have? And how does that compare to the Jewish population and the control that they have on 18 out of the 25 biggest hedge funds, or on BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, on AI technology or technology in general through search engines, and of course security as well for all of the and verification, identification, and the further the surveillance state that they seek to impose through the likes of say Larry Ellison and of course Sam Altman, etc. Yeah, none of this gets mentioned. They're concerned about, as they themselves admit, even the ADL admits, Antifa is basically a non-violent, just a bunch of agitators, essentially. Not really a big deal, but where did it actually start? It actually started in Germany by a bunch of Jews. The Jews started at the Antifa movement to counter the National Socialists. They don't mention that. If you care about Antifa so much, why don't you actually look at who started it, who sponsors it? You care about Mamdani getting elected? Guess what? There's a bunch of rich Jews that sponsor him. Jews actually support him a lot in New York. They want to get him elected because he stands by them. And he's also pro-LGBTQ. Why don't you take issue with that? And who was a big sponsor of LGBTQ? Who brought that shit into America? Those guys came from both the Frankfurt School and also the Institute of Sexuality from Germany. Guys I've already mentioned them a million times. Magnus Hirschfeld, of course. He's the one who created the Institute of Sexuality, and they push that LGBTQ bullshit. You don't like that stuff, but you don't want to call out the cause. You don't want to mention, guys, for instance, or whatever he is, like Richard Levine, who was the previous Undersecretary of Health, who was pushing LGBTQ and also vaccine mandates. Who pushed the vaccine mandates that killed over 600,000 Americans? I mean, this would have been the stuff I would have stated. They really care about how to handle normies. They're completely unaware of who really controls America, who controls the monetary system, again, that causes inflation and unemployment and taxation, and requires taxation just to make interest payments on the debt. But they're not ready for those types of hard conversations. They're at best at the superficial level. They haven't done any real research. Maybe they know a little bit more than they claim, but they're not prepared to have those hard discussions because they live in fear of calling out the Jewish problem, the Jewish occupation of America that controls every facet of America, because they're consistently will lie to you, and they're either too stupid, ignorant, or lazy to do any real research. They'll look at people like Laura Loomer, who'll even say that ADL is a problem because now they consider Christianity to be a hate group. Really? Christianity is a problem? Is that right? But forgetting about the fact, well, the ADL, wasn't that started by a bunch of Jews as well, like through Samuel Untermeyer, because they sought to defend a pedophile, Leo Frank, who raped Mary Fagan, and they're, again, a manifestation of benign birth, a long-term Jewish ideology with chapters spread out across America and beyond, that also sponsored the KKK. But once you look at Chabad Lubavitch and its rape problem within its synagogues, or that, 660 got raided in New York. What happened to those rabbis? Why don't you look at Left to Horror that have been busted for pedophilia as well, since you guys care about the rape problem in Europe, which, by the way, can be solved really easily, except every single European leader seems as cocked and controlled by Jews, like Keir Starmer himself is a Jew. Macron came out of the Rothschild Bank himself. Geert Wilders is sponsored by Mossad and the Jews as well. All they have to do is deny or reject any migrants from coming in, easy, and then two, impose the death penalty on the rapists, irrespective of their background, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, of course, atheist, Hindu, whatever. And then watch your rape problem disappear. Watch your pedophilia problem disappear, because that's the ultimate deterrent. But they won't. Who's in charge of these laws? They'll cry about the problems, the symptoms, and the crime and all that stuff, but don't want to do anything about it when it comes to the laws. Instead, let's just point the finger at a minority based on some studies that have been put out that are not representative of who's actually causing the problems and who's enabling the problems. These are conversations, these individuals, they're the actual normies, they just don't know it. They're trying to figure out strategies on how to, say, educate people and teach people about Antifa. You think Antifa is the problem? No, the Jews are the problems. The Jews created Antifa, so you don't talk about them. The Jews created communism, so you don't talk about them. The Jews created Zionism, so you don't talk about them. You guys fall for that shit. Not you guys, in the other space, because they're all a bunch of shameless, spineless fucking cowards and traitors who think, somebody like Trump or Project U is going to come and save the day. So that's why I don't waste my time in those spaces, and I was going to wait for 4 more people. For what? I told Mace, if you really want me to counter some of this bullshit, maybe you and I could do a space one day. Otherwise, I don't want to waste my fucking time with these retards, because they're too low IQ, and there's really nothing to be had. They're not ready to have those conversations, and they're just going to call me a Jew hater and anti-Semite, which I don't care. You're not going to hurt my feelings, but you guys don't have a problem shitting on all the Muslims, and you won't call out, say, those Christian evangelical Zionists to support those Jews, because you're fucking cowards. You'll just go along with whatever the likes of Tim Pool or Laura Loomer or whichever one of these Mossad-controlled influencers are going to say. So, F and Charlie, I hope that sums up what I meant to say. But I probably would have been able to say all that because they would have muted me and likely booted me off anyway, so I just did myself a favor and left early.
Well, you said a lot of what I was thinking. Sitting there gritting my teeth, I think I downed a whole beer listening to that woman, speculate about a bunch of soy boys being the biggest problem in our country.
It's women like that that give credence to the argument that the 19th Amendment should be wiped. They shouldn't have a right to vote nor lead. Stay at home, raise the fucking kids. Be submissive to your men. Listen more than you fucking talk. And don't ever talk to me like that, you stupid bitch. I'm not going to stick around in your space and teach you what you don't know. Because there's a lot she doesn't know. But again, it's a low IQ space. They're not prepared to learn. And there's really no point in engaging people that are just bad faith and closed-minded. And too scared, live in fear. I can't say Jew. They might demonetize me. They might nuke my account. Gives a fuck. You just want to live in fear in a box under a rock while they essentially take away all your liberties? And those willing to give up liberty for security will end up with neither. But they're too retarded to realize that that's the inevitable consequence of your passivity and your unwillingness to speak up and actually do something and engage in real action against these fucking tyrants that just want to wipe out the human race. Slowly but surely, through things like vaccines, poisoning the food, the water, the air, and making life basically unlivable, unbearable for the majority. So this way they can rule successfully as a minority. So there it is.
Well, Truth, quickly, one thing I wanted to say to add on to what you're saying is these people, they don't understand that it's neither left nor right? Bill Ackman and all of these people, they're heavy backers of the Democratic Party. They literally go wherever their interests lie. They supported all of these liberal ideas, letting people in, LGBTQ, all of these, promote this, promote that, transgenderism. And now that Trump's gone full on Bibi, I love you, Israel's my best friend, then now they back Trump. But, these people are generally liberals. They have liberal ideology, and they are, subverting the Constitution of the United States to sort of, as a parasite, to sort of, ruin the country.
Yeah, and they want to make it a left versus right battle, like that's even relevant. But what happened with the guy today, who burned down the church? That's Jacob's guy. Turns out he's like a pro-Trump guy. I don't even care whether he's left or right. What he did was obviously deplorable, shouldn't have happened, blah, blah. And it turns out he's a conservative, a hunter, a fisherman, and an ex-vet as well. He served in Iraq. Look, it's a fucked up thing, but it's not a left versus right problem. There's a uniparty. And yeah, you're right. They're like some Ackmans. They've consistently supported the Democratic Party, but then when Trump comes along, who used to be a Democrat himself, switched to Republican. Do you remember what he said? Why he switched?
Yeah, because
Republicans are so fucking retarded. I could say or do anything and they'd still vote for me. I could go shoot someone on the street and I won't lose any votes. So he thinks so highly of people that follow his party. And look, it's not like he's some.
He was right. He was right. He wasn't lying.
I know. I agree. He can get away with anything. He can literally go swear on a ton and people will still say no. He's still a Christian. And he pretty much, goes to the wall and commemorates the passing of Menachem Mendel Schneerson and Chabad Lubavitch. Oh no, he's not a Jew. He's just showing special respect to the Jews, even though his daughter converted to Judaism, his grandkids are Jews, and he celebrates Jewish holidays in Mar-a-Lago. How much more proof do you need? He converted in 2017. The White House spokesman representative said so. But they don't want to believe that he represents his people.
And Israel confirmed it in 2019.
Yeah, so he's fighting for the legacy of the Jewish people. That's why he's got multiple anti-Semitism stars like Leo Terrell and also Rabbi Kaplan going after anti-Semites. And Stephen Miller talks about wanting to end illegal migration, but really that's just code for getting rid of anti-Semites because they're not deporting all illegals, and ICE is just going after people they don't like. And the main point of Pat. By the way, did you guys know that PayPal actually had a partnership with the ADL to go after anti-Semites? Peter Thiel's whole crew.
Yeah, I saw that. Hold
on.
And also,
You can't have PayPal in occupied territories.
Holy.
Yeah. Look, the whole point of Palantir is to be able to have everyone's personal information. So this way they can, go after you, dox you. And by the way, Antifa, that's exactly what they do. They'll go after, say, white supremacists, which doesn't exist. There's Jewish supremacists, they exist, but they won't go after them. Or so-called fascists, well, who are they? There's no fascism here. There's still elections that take place, and they're both pre-selected candidates anyway. It's a Jews in charge. There's an oligopoly in charge that controls the media, the politicians, and finance. They don't go after them, though. Because no, they actually defend and protect them. They want to go after those that want to go after those who are actually in charge. Guys like me, they will obviously call them out and call for decentralization and no Federal Reserve, none of these Jewish lobbies, no more Income Tax Act. Everybody should absolutely have a home. I'm a National Socialist. Everybody should have a home, and food should be affordable, and the currency should not be devalued. Should not be devalued or be able to be traded on any exchange. It should just be stabilized, and people can obviously earn a living, own property for sure, and there should be private property rights, and there should be a stock market separated from the economy. So this way you can't fuck with it and cause transfer of wealth from poor middle class to the elite. You can't therefore exploit or do price manipulation with the stock market like Larry Ellison did, where he made $101 billion in a day. And no one said anything about it. None of them care. None of them even know. None of them really understand how the stock market works or what the Federal Reserve even really does. Because they're not interested in these hard conversations. They want to talk about Antifa. Antifa's the problem. If we can solve that, we'll fix all our problems.
Antifa controls the Federal Reserve. Antifa's 50% of the donations to the parties. Antifa has led us 7 wars that have cost $21 trillion. Did you know that truth?
Exactly. Yeah. Antifa causes $37 trillion in debt. Not the Jews, who cost about $30 trillion of the debt with all the illegal wars. That's all the payments to countries like Jordan, Egypt, and other countries to do the Abraham Accords, and all the money wasted. And I'm not making up numbers, by the way. There's actual accounting on this. All this money that gets spent, wasted, is on Jews for all their stupid special programs. Besides, just foreign aid policy to Israel and Ukraine, which is also run by Jews.
We don't talk about enough. We don't talk about the great bank bailout of 2008, 2009. Oh my God! Yeah, that was another $1 trillion to Jews right there.
Dude, do you know that America assumes the liability for Israeli bonds? So when they go and borrow money, America assumes that debt if they default. Did you know that?
It has to be because the credit rating so high.
Because their GDP is completely fabricated and inflated. It's based on what? They don't actually make or do anything other than what? They resell smuggled diamonds, cut process, and that again is really a made-up industry, easily boycottable. And they resell stolen weapons that they have. But what is it they actually do? I mean, right now they're more or less at state of war, which means most of it's all expenses. It's very expensive to finance a genocide. You're pulling out your core component of your workforce so that they can become soldiers, and then you have have to pay them to go and do this. So you're spending billions of dollars. I mean, some people are saying it's like $100 million or more a week to be able to finance this. It might even be more than that. It's very expensive. Then your hotels and all your other industries are suffering as a result of it. So their economy is shit right now. And the only reason why it's still functional is because the U.S. is funding it and subsidizing it. Without that, they default. They're done. But they never will because, well, the U.S. assumes liability and enables it. Trump enables it. It's real simple on how you end the genocide and problems, but, they don't want to have those hard conversations because they don't care about Palestine. They pretend they don't care about Israel either, even though they have no problems with billions of dollars going towards funding the Jewish state and Jews controlling America, being being recognized as a special minority class and the highest earning ethnic minority. But then they want to claim that white supremacy exists. No, that's called Jewish supremacy because they get all the perks and privileges. But again, these cowards will never have that conversation because they're a bunch of chicken shits, cowards. And those are the things I would have said to those fucking twats who think they're tough. Go do your own speech. Yeah, but I'm about to do that, bitch. I'm out. You think I'm going to wait around to have the privilege to speak to your low IQ crowd? I'm done. So
who is your crowd anyway? She used to follow me on my old account.
They're a bunch of normies. She actually sent me a mic. She invited me up. I wasn't even going to go up at all. Then Mace messaged me and asked me to please come up, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was just killing time before I started my own space, literally. Could care less.
I wasn't in there, didn't hear it.
They're
ridiculous people, man. They're ridiculous people. They come up with this shit. They say the same thing every day, and nothing changes in their tone. They never... You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. They never drink the fucking water.
Well, they drink the
Kool-Aid.
Horses only drink from fresh water sources.
No, they drink the Kool-Aid. They'll never talk about what they could actually do. Why don't you talk about BDS? Boycott all the Jew-run businesses. Stop drinking. I bet they all drink Starbucks. I bet they're still eating fucking fast food and processed foods. I bet they still don't understand how inflation works. They're not changing their lifestyle or learning to live below their means and eliminate debt and get into crypto and Bitcoin, just Bitcoin, not other crypto, to get themselves try to achieve a financial autonomy. These are the topics that actually matter to people, that actually impact people's day-to-day. This way they don't have to worry about figuring out whether to fill up their tanks or their fridges. They can actually afford to have families. Yeah, it's great that Charlie Kirk pushes heterosexuality and, having a family and kids, but you have to be able to afford to do that. He was a multi-millionaire because he was funded by a bunch of fucking Jews. So good for thee, but not for me because it's not affordable. And why is it not affordable? Because the Jew takes it all for himself. They play a zero-sum game. That's why less than 0.5% of the population controls over 50% of the wealth. The Jews control most of the wealth in America. And that stupid bitch would never want to admit that because she's too much of a coward.
Hey, one more quick question, Truth.
Yeah.
Hey, have you seen about his wife? About the whole marriage could have been arranged, that she was possibly...
Her marriage was arranged, just like Candace Owens' marriage was arranged. Getting married within 17 days of meeting George Farmer was absolutely arranged. Epstein actually arranged it. Look, it's hilarious to me that people think she's some brave superwoman because as a 17-year-old, after winning, she didn't even win the Miss Teen America pageant. She just won Miss Arizona, and she didn't even place for the next pageant. So then they whisk her off to Romania to go and connect herself with Romania's angels and start human trafficking for the next 5 years. And these retards don't want to have that conversation. Thousands of kids went missing. They say 86,000. I think it's higher than that. 86,000 kids as a conservative figure is the number of kids that go missing in Romania per year. Unfortunately, human trafficking runs rampant there. What do you think she's fucking doing there with help from the U.S. military and the contractors there? They're in on it.
Not only that, but her parents' background, and just so happened to run into Charlie in Israel. Come on. That wasn't set up. That was
your
not set
question
up.
is arranged. It was absolutely arranged. Yeah, I believe that. And now does she look like she's grieving? She doesn't give a fuck.
Not at all.
She looks happy. USA, and they're going like crazy. She's going to make even more millions. She's money hungry, and she's not a member of the Knights of Malta. So she's a Freemason as well, just like Charlie Kirk was.
Well,
and
not only that, that's
if you look at her mom. Look at her mom's picture. You telling me she's not a Jew?
No, but not only that, but the money is nothing. It's the amount of ears that they got through that TPS USA. I mean, how many...
Power and influence on the young demographic.
It's huge.
And did you see this gay guy they rolled out?
They don't survive without the youth vote. They need high schoolers and now middle schoolers as well, and obviously university students. So it'll be staunch Zionists, just like this Bryland faggot, the trust fund baby that's going to be the next face of TPUSA.
Killing Charlie, they got it.
That guy is a more Zionist version of Charlie, a gay as well, so they can sort of bridge into all demographics. Hello, we're a one size fits all. Come join, put on your Zio cap, go touch the wall.
She's got her prints all over his death, bro. She's guilty as fuck.
Look, I don't know if you guys saw Stu Peters' video, and I really don't care to relitigate this anymore, but it's quite clear that microphone blew up, and there was a guy that detonated it, and it was similar to, I believe, what happened with the pagers in Lebanon. So there was no shot fired. And by the way, you can through acoustics analysis, it's quite clear they diverted the sound of what was supposedly a bullet, and from that gun, the rifle they claimed that was used, the 30-aught, there's no way it would have been that. It would have been that sound. It would have been way louder. So it's quite clear this was, again, a manufactured hit job. Just because even the blood that was gushing out looked totally fake and staged. I don't even know if he's really dead. I really don't care. He was just another face. Now they've replaced it with this young faggot. And Erica's going to take over. And, the likes of JD Vance, Shapiro, and all of them are going to guest co-host his space to keep it going. And, they're actually more popular and bigger than what they were. This totally paid off for them.
I think he's actually dead. I think they actually killed him. But I mean, that was the first thought. I was like, yo, he's probably faking his death. That was the first thing I thought because he's surrounded by spooks. But it's like, they might have.
But does it even matter? Like, they're exploiting his death because they need more military recruitment. They want more people to go serve in Israel's wars. Because based on what I'm hearing, Iran's on the chop block and Venezuela as well. And they don't have enough soldiers. They're spread thin. So they're going to be recruiting at a ridiculous rate because now all of a sudden, everyone's going to rediscover their patriotism because of Charlie Kirk, the Zionist, the guy who loves Israel and the Jews.
Who never served in the army himself, who never fucking stepped a foot outside of the United States with the uniform on. And they gave him the Air Force color guard, the Air Force guard to carry his casket. What kind of bullshit is this?
7 of the 18 were the only ones that weren't there at the funeral. So the 18 in the chain of command, 7 of them weren't there. The rest were there, from President Bush on down.
It's always the chicken hawks that want other people's kids to go to war and die. Just remember that. Trump never served. His kids are never going to serve. You think Ivanka Trump's kids are going to, or you think Barron's going to serve? You think Charlie Kirk's kids are one they serve? No. They want poor people's kids to serve because they're expendable. Okay, that's what everyone here needs to understand. The Jew has no problem sacrificing a Gentile to serve the Jewish cause. And they'll get $1 million out of it, like for instance, or they get some money out of it, like they did with Tyler Robinson's family. Play along with this ruse that we're playing on the American people. You're going to pretend to be the lone shooter, and then the story that your part of the story will eventually die down. At least we didn't wipe you out like Lee Harvey Oswald. You get to live. And just like with Luigi Mangione, what happened there? Where's that's never going to go to court. That's another joke of a case. So these lone gunman, narratives, these fictional narratives, no one's eventually going to buy it because people are seeing through the lies. I mean, the time of the era of false flags, it's too late now because too many people have smartphones and they don't believe the government anymore because they've just been caught in too many lies. And all they do is fucking lie. Like after Iraq and after COVID, there's very little confidence in the government other than these retards. And don't believe in these fucking manufactured polls. They're all a bunch of bullshit when they try to claim if Trump's polls are really whether it's 40, 50% or more. No one approves of his bullshit. It's all manufacturers. And AIPAC and Mossad and all these fucking entities can manufacture polling just to falsely reflect popularity of leadership and the direction they're going and how amazing the economy is. Well, it's only benefiting the top 10%. Nobody's buying this shit. It's only benefiting really the top 1% that continue to accumulate more wealth as they literally manufacture it out of thin air by rigging the stock market. That's why I'll keep bringing up the Larry Ellison stock manipulation ploy he did on September 10th, which I believe is a much bigger story than Charlie Kirk, because that's enabled him to be the richest and most influential guy in the world. He's the real CEO of all the major companies now. He runs media and he runs the big AI, and he's pivotal, instrumental in Operation Stargate, among other ventures out there. And he's already testing out his national ID card in the UK. Expect that to come in the US. Right? You're seeing it right before your eyes. What more can I say? All right, we'll get through these fans, and then I'll do the Theo presentation, and I'll see when Tyler's going to get here, hopefully shortly. And yeah, it'll be a good space, guys. I think we got to talk about the issues that matter, not this bullshit, these symptoms of the problem, like whether it's Antifa, the socialists, left versus right, black versus white. These are all just, this is gaslighting. This is all smoke and mirrors, because they don't want to talk about where the country's actually going. It's going towards a surveillance state with a stable coin, where they're going to roll over all the debt and, again, take over all the assets remaining that they don't already have. So that's their plan. That's the shit that people need to understand. And then plan for it, because there's solutions. All here is just blackpill. Listen to the fucking solutions. Boycott all the fucking businesses. Again, eat less, get fit, get off all the other social media apps and the likes of Netflix and, of course, the mainstream media news, and learn about Bitcoin, and again, learn to live below your means. So this way you're way less of a target to them and they can't control you anymore. That's what's key. All right, Joanne, pick a hand.
Let's check on the list. Welcome to the panel, sir.
Thank you, guys. But I'm so glad that Truth has been begged to be a part of Maze and all these clowns on Twitter. These, like I was talking about earlier in Key Space this morning, I said, the most important thing we could possibly talk about right now is finding your way into heaven, because, you're going to need some grace. This is the end times. They are hell-bent, like some rabid fucking rats in a cage. So they're cornered. They're overplay their hand, man. Every time that they get kicked out of the country, they get caught colluding and then conspire, against real mom and pop businesses. They steal your shit. They want your intellectual property. They want your assets. They're going to use you up until you're not worth anything anymore. And they want to bring us to war with China. To be honest with you, they're in bed with China. They fund both sides of every war. They don't know who's going to win. But they sort of gamble on this stuff just so they can draw regime change and new borders. So that's the type of motherfuckers they are. We're talking about some real Zionists, motherfucker. These people have submarines and bunkers and stuff. I don't want to preach to the choir, but I was in Key Space this morning about the Sunday sermon, and I'm so glad to hear Truth talking about these clowns on Twitter, because I don't hear too many people talking about the military psychological operation that Twitter is, with the journalists that sell us these wars and stage these mass casualty events constantly with these bioweapons and so forth. But that's the type of shit that these people do. It reminds me of the Navalny poisoning and all this other stuff, with Skripal and this whole Ukraine shit that started with the train station and air incursions into Romania. They're staging these false flag attacks to hit us with a EMP and black out our electricity grid. And then your Bitcoin is going to be worth nothing because we have no internet. You see what I'm saying? It's going to drive people into FEMA camps on purpose. And they want to keep you guys inside with the whole track tracing database. It's like a cage. And they want to be in Venezuela so they can watch Cuba and Mexico and the shipping lanes. And they're probably going to go to war with Russia about shipping lanes. Well, that's what the Brits started before the Queen died. This is all the European conglomerate. These people are in a cabal. It's a cult. And they want to turn us into Europe. See what I mean? And they want to see everything. They want to know how your farts smell, man. And they want to make sure that you're going to pass laws to prevent radical terrorists. And that's what is going to happen. And if you don't like it, you can end up in a FEMA camp. They wanted everything to do with everything there's no liberty anymore. See, if your assets bring you a business or any type of wealth, they're going to yoink the rug. And it's just the way they are. But anyway, that's the whole behind the curtains thing, smoke and mirrors. We were talking about Orthodox Jews versus the Ashkenazi Zionists.
Let's end it soon because we have a lot of hands and he also wants to start his presentation. So
I just want to keep you guys on your toes. Watch how they spin the narrative with Lave Street, because they're going to stage something. I don't know what it is. It's going to be another assassination, quote unquote, or bioweapon, whatever, bro. Regime change, civil war in Kosovo. But yeah, that's exactly how they operate, and it has a lot more to do. They need some type of show. They're not going to show you that there is real people behind the scenes that are bucking the boomers.
All right, the general started his space. This is my favorite space. I'm going to hop into that one. Looks like he just started it, so he's getting it filled up. This is the Ethnic American, the EAB stands for Ethnic American Broadcast. If you don't understand what Ethnic American is, you can go to ethnicamerican.org to follow our project.
Let's get Rush up here.
trying to wake people up to our actual history. We are exploring
Morning,
all
Rush.
topics, all sides of every
Morning, Deb.
argument.
Brock, Mark, Frankie, Vigilant. Good morning, everybody.
And this
Susie
is
Q.
Morning, General.
this is a group chat
Morning.
right here.
Morning, Jake and Bake. Jack, Nick, Alexander. Good morning, everybody.
I stream these spaces because not everybody knows about X.
Sorry for the late start. I was tied up there for a little bit.
They're basically, this is the community square, the watering.
As long as Israel didn't take you out.
Not yet.
But man, it looks like that was a horrible attack yesterday in at the church in Minnesota. It was a Latter-day Saint church, and I guess the guy drove his truck into the church and then got out with firebombs and a rifle and lit the whole church on fire and shot people. I mean, it seemed horrible. I mean, just like the Shroony lover, the Antifa guy that supposedly killed Charlie Kirk. I don't even believe that happened. The media are trying to spin we're spinning this guy as the right wing. I mean, he did have 2 American flags in the back of his truck, so.
Well, he had a sign at his residence that said, "Take down Trump." So, there it is.
Yeah, do you think he's what they're labeling as the woke right, as someone that doesn't like, Trump's, obvious control by Israel? Do you think that's the case? I mean, 'cause you typically don't see leftists, flying around with American flags. I mean, it's as crazy as it is. The American flag is a political symbol, in my opinion.
Well, why go after a church then? What's the purpose of going after the church unless he's one of these crazy CQ radio types who are obsessed with, the Christians are the Jews and all this shit. I don't know.
I just had that same thought that, man, it might just be this attacking Christianity type of thing. I just don't understand that. That makes no sense.
Exactly what
It just seems like a psyops almost. I mean, him being a military veteran, he got all the vaccines. He's probably going to the VA. I don't know. It's just the whole situation seems odd to me. The amount of attacks that we're having in this country right now seems extremely high. It's either that or Project Mockingbird, and they're finally reporting the amount of attacks we were already getting. To me, this seems really volatile. A lot more of these political style terrorist attacks across our country at extremely high volume ever since Charlie Kirk assassinated.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just there's a lot of hate towards Christians going on right now, and so who the hell knows? I mean, again, why attack a church? What's the purpose of attacking the church? Out of all the places the guy could have went, what's the reasoning behind hitting the church? And I will put up this to start the show this morning. Anna Paulina Luna is blessed in the ADL for saying Christian identity is hate speech. And Matt Gaetz reposted that as well.
That's awesome, guys. Kaiser stripper Anna continues to not let us down. I mean, she's doing great work, and it has to be because of Matt Gaetz. But that's awesome to see. Yeah, looks like we got a bunch of hands. Dove, jump in there. What do you think about the Christian attack?
Well, I'm very sad. First of all, the president of the Mormon Church passed away just last night, and this happened this morning, and I'm convinced that this was a false flag to turn Christians against each other and to take the blame off of the liberal media for all of the horrible shit that's been going on this month. I thought this just a couple days ago. I was thinking that the liberals would hire like a fake Republican to do something because they look so bad. They're so defeated right now. They need to make us look bad. I think that they have like a database of people, and they pick somebody who is like a turncoat conservative or a turncoat Republican and put them up to this shit because they know that if it's a Democrat who does it, they're going to be public enemy number one. And this is what I thought they did when they shot Trump. They had a guy who's like supposedly a Republican, but you know he's not. Look at all these fucking shooters recently. Look at Thomas Crooks, and then the guy who shot Charlie Kirk, this guy, and then the Minneapolis shooter. They all have no voting records. Like, what is the fucking odds that Charlie Kirk shooter didn't vote in the last election? This guy didn't vote. Matthew Crooks has no vote. Like, this is a fucking psyop.
Hey, yeah, seems pretty steady. I agree. Frank, good morning, buddy. Jump in there.
Yeah, good morning. Also, this could have been like a bit of a radicalized person about what happened in Utah. And, the Mormons are famous for coming out of Utah. So that was my thinking. But, yeah, who knows?
I think that that's what they want to make it look like. They want to turn us all against each other and make it look like, like we're fighting, and like the guy who killed Charlie, now they're going to make him like a Mormon, but he's really a fucking leftist.
Yeah, but I mean, in Michigan, no one has problems with Mormons. Like the Mormons come by the house usually once a year. Young guys, clean cut, talk to you for a minute, and then they go. Like, there's nothing wrong with like our situation with Mormons. Nobody hates the Mormons. I don't understand why they would target a church. That's the real thing. Like, why target another church? Why are they targeting all these churches? It's happening at a massive scale. They're all targeting these churches. For what? Why? The Mormons aren't running the show. They have some political power, but they're not the ones running around controlling Trump or anything like that. I don't see I don't see it. I don't see what the angle here is, other than if the guy just sits in one of those CQ radio type spaces where they just hate Christians and think all Christians are the devil and they have to kill all Christians. How many times have we heard that guy sit up there and say, if I ever get power, I'll kill all Christians? I don't know. I don't see as someone who's from Michigan, and that happening here just seems so out of whack. No one has an issue with these people.
Yeah,
If somebody walks around or comes to your place of business and wants to talk to you about their religion or their book or whatever, that's not a problem. You know, like that's not something that's gonna force somebody to go wanna firebomb their church and kill them all. Like that kind of thing is not. That's not American culture. That's not anything to do with America. Like people talking in a very respectful manner to other people. This isn't the type of thing that drives people to go bomb a church. Go ahead, Rush.
No, I mean that's the thing that makes this so questionable. Is you really don't. It doesn't make any sense. That's the reason. To me, it leans more toward it being some sort of psyops or a false flag type of event. I mean, it's obviously not a false flag. This was a massive event yesterday. I do feel those people lost their lives, but some kind of MK Ultra spinning somebody up because there's too much volatility right now. It seems like they're trying to make things in America go kinetic. They're doing everything possible to vulcanize and have some kind of Spurgy uprising. I believe it was John next. Jump in there, John.
Hey, buddy. Yeah. There's been a lot of these shootings recently since Charlie Kirk, and of course, what always happens, right, is that the authorities always try and discourage us from jumping to conclusions. Well, we don't know yet. Let's wait until we have more information. And of course, what they're doing is they're just sort of letting air out of the balloon. So by the time there's any kind of confirmation at all, like the news cycle's moved on and the event's been sort of semi-memory hold. So this is a tactic that they use. They injure society with these shootings, and then nobody gets to really form a coherent narrative around it because they just sort of diffuse the information. Nobody can. We can't collectively come to a conclusion as to what it means and what actually happened. So this is just a textbook tactic, a method of political control. But here's the point I want to make. All these shootings are what's called ipso facto terrorist attacks. And what ipso facto is, it's a Latin term that simply means self-evident fact. Right? These terrorist attacks are self-evidently anti-American, anti-white, anti-civilizational. So it doesn't matter that the guy was wearing a Trump shirt, or he did contra. He like the Trump shooter. When Trump was shot in the air, he did make a donation to the Republican Party, and they just love to muddy the waters. But this is all nonsense. These are ipso facto anti-white terrorist attacks, because if someone shoots up a church, guess what it means? It means they hate churches. And if they hate churches, they hate white people. And if they hate white people, they hate Western civilization. We don't need to connect the dots. We don't need to go through the charade that the authorities always try and kind of run us through to muddy the waters. The whole thing is a complete psyop. Like if you shoot a dog, guess what? You hate dogs. Right? You don't you don't say, oh, well, he's been out shooting dogs, but he did volunteer at the pound one time, so it's really unclear, and we don't really know. And I mean, come on, guys, if someone commits an act of terrorism, they hate our society, they hate civilization, and they hate white people. It's ipso facto white terrorism, straight out the bat. The second you hear of this stuff, you know exactly what you're dealing with. We don't need the bullshit story.
Yeah, it's a good point, John. I mean, you can look at the victims and make a good determination of what the goal was. I honestly use that as a valid point. But I think Brock is next. Good morning, Brock. Good to see you, buddy. Jump on in there.
Hey, good morning. This Detroit situation is eerily similar to the
event in Minneapolis at the Annunciation Church. I'm from Minneapolis, and no one has a problem with people going to church. We've never seen anything like it, and for something like this to happen in Michigan and Minnesota, it just seems like, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but it just seems like there's some ulterior motive here, and they're all connected in some way, and maybe they're not. But the truth is that, like, we are entering this period where there's so many volatile events, like you said, Rush. And how do you tone the temperature down, or rather turn the temperature down when you're dealing in a very, very sensitive environment like we're dealing with? And the thing is like, we want to go full steam ahead. I mean, people who tell us to turn the temperature down, I mean, that's usually a red flag, and to do the opposite. So I'm really baffled. Similar to you, John. I mean, I'm just like, on the surface, this is a terrorist attack. Do you need to learn anything more about it? Not really. I'll land right there.
Well, this is the second church shooting in Detroit in the last couple months. At the end of June, there was that other one in Warren, Michigan, where they went in and shot up the church. And that's Detroit too, by the way. Warren is Detroit, and so is Grand Blanc. It's Detroit. So now they've had 2 church shootings in Detroit in less than 6 months, in less than 4 months. And this is something that is unprecedented. This hasn't happened before. So yeah, I don't know. It just seems so strange to me that these guys are targeting churches now, and people are starting to become more religious. And yeah, nut jobs. This guy was a military veteran. Who knows how stable the guy was? But I don't know. It's I don't really have much to say other than I put the post up in the Jumbotron. You want why people are targeting Christians. Christians are the most targeted group and most hated group on the entire planet. The Jews hate them, the Muslims hate them, the Hindus hate them. I mean, Modi's party in India is paying people a bounty to kill Christian priests and Catholic priests. So yeah, it's the same thing. We see Israel bombing churches over there, left, right, and center. And look what they're doing to all the churches across Europe and in America. Just have a lot of hate. And then it doesn't help when the ADL comes out. I put it up there in the Jumbotron. Even Elon Musk slammed the ADL, calling them a hate group. So yeah, I think it's going to change. But it's going to take a lot from the people to push back on this. That's why, like, the endless demonization of Christianity is, and you see it even in these groups. These guys come along and spread all this retarded nonsense that are all faking gay lies about Christianity, and they're pushing hate left, right, and center because they want to get their own group to catch, and people don't. That they're not interested in this kind of bullshit and lies and slanders and trying to demonize somebody else's religion just so you can prop up your bullshit that nobody's interested in. And yeah, we've seen it. We've interacted with them directly on our show. These guys have come in with their bullshit, like poop worshipping of cows and whatever kind of nonsense that they go along with. But Fitz, go ahead, jump in there.
Hey, you guys. Good morning. I agree with everything I've heard so far, and I saw Elon's post too, which I was so happy to see. Him acknowledging what's going on. I feel like he's evolved a little bit in the past year, I would say. When I first heard about the church shooting, yesterday, my very first thought is, okay, who hates white American Christians? And my immediate, I know that there's others, as I think General just said. My first thought kind of posted of hers up in the jumbo. So that was my first inclination of who might actually be behind this, whether it's just in the rhetoric or whatever. But we know from experience what federal agents are capable of in Michigan, and I'm sure everywhere else. After the Whitmer thing, attempted kidnap a while ago, and setting up those guys. I mean, who knows? This guy very easily probably could have been set up. I feel like since, I guess it occurred to me, it's been going on much longer than that, but probably about 10 years ago is when I was sure that we were in this spiritual warfare, good versus evil type of thing. And I think the demons right now are just so aware that they're being exposed. Look at Gen Z. My goodness. I mean, they know what's going on. The rest of the population hopefully is coming to terms with what's going on, becoming aware of it or whatever. So they're particularly freaked out, I guess. And boy, are they acting out. I've only just recently, in the past few weeks, started going back to church on Sunday mornings, and this kind of stuff is just not going to stop me. I'm going to keep going. I feel more determined now than I did last week after this, and I think that might be a little bit crazy, but I don't care. I am going to church because I want I want, in this warfare that's going on, I want to defeat evil, and if that's just one other little thing I can do to help the cause, I'm in. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of chime in, say good morning. I feel like I've said what pretty much all of you guys have said, but I appreciate you giving me the mic. Everybody have a great day.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Fitz. I mean, and it's attack on our culture and our civilization. Regardless, it's a terrorist attack, and I'm not even sure I'll trust the narrative that comes out of this story. But I mean, it took them 2 years to release the manifesto that Catholic school shooters see. We all knew it was a transgender with leftist ideology. And they refused to release it for 2 years. And I feel regardless of what this is, they're going to try to push it as the person was right wing. And it's going to be a large amount of more levels of propaganda coming out over the next 6 months to the year, I feel. I mean, things are getting very kinetic. We're seeing big refueler land bridges going back from the United States over to the Middle East. It looks like we are sending more fighter jets to the Middle East again in a possible buildup for our conflict with either Ukraine or Iran. It does seem like we're propping up over there, so it's a little bit worrisome. But Overwatch, good morning, buddy. Really good to see you. Jump in there, buddy.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. No worries. I just want to make sure you saw my hand there. This app is glitchy, but I think it's multi-pronged. You know, if the devil can go after some churches to distract from other things, you know, that's a double win for him. So, but this J6 stuff coming out, guys, it's big. I think they're distracting from that because a lot of people in my circle that that I know at work and stuff are awake to a lot of stuff, but that J6 is such a big lie. They can't wrap their head around it. They haven't wrapped their head around it yet. They haven't seen any of the incriminating videos we've seen. They've mainly watched Fox News or whatever, and a lot of people that I know still think they will say, well, those people got what they deserve. They don't believe that those people were set up. If they do believe that, they believe that maybe one or two were set up, but they cannot grasp that it couldn't have been that many. It couldn't have been that scale. It's just not possible. They still think those people screwed up, and so the psyop of dissuading them from going to peacefully protest has largely worked for a lot of people. So with this new revelation coming out about so many agents, and so it's such a big scale, they're getting quiet now about it, and they're getting through their cognitive dissonance on it, because, and why that's important is the next question is, well, damn, if it was that big a scale, why would they do that? Well, because, then it leads back to the election, it leads back to 2020, it leads back to voter fraud, the machines, it leads back to everything. So that was huge, and I think, it's just a distraction from that. They want to let the air out of the balloon, as the other gentleman said, quickly on that, because now a lot of those people that just couldn't, they're like, I just can't believe that they opened the doors and let them in. And I tell them about it, and I'm like, it's video, go look. They just, they just can't, they don't want to deal with it, but now they're going to have to. So I think that's a big deal, and I think they're distracted from that. I'll end it.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Can I ask, what is the update for Charlie Kirk murder from FBI? This is also a distraction from that. You don't get any update on this issue, and now you have something new. It's a chaos. Read the book Chaos, and you will understand how CIA and everybody working. You can expect even bigger thing, because you need to have justified new war with Iran. And I just watched some FBI agent who said sleeping cell in the United States, 1,000 members of Al-Qaeda. Okay, so how many agency guys you have, and they don't know where they are? What kind of bullshit is that? They don't know where they are hiding in United States with all your money and everything. So you can expect even bigger bullshit, and everything is run by ADL and FBI, because building for ADL and FBI, it's like building to building. So everything is run with this anti-white and anti-Christian psyop named ADL, who is well organized, highly paid guy from South Africa who making rule for Americans. You have today you have meeting with Netanyahu and Trump. I don't think that Trump wants to go in any kind of war, because he doesn't like to spend lots of money, but people around him will push, and you can expect even here the Irani, they put statement, if a new attack come to Iran, it will be last of Israel and everybody in the region. They have their intelligence. They know that something is cooking. I'm hearing from normal people here, they are preparing for the new war. I'm in the Middle East. If someone doesn't know where am I, so everything is a psyop from the destruction of bigger problem. Same thing about what they did when Charlie Kirk was shot. They tried to take your passport if you do anything wrong against Israel, pass this, pass that, pass for Ukraine. Same people who wants to continue war in Ukraine are the same people who wants to attack Iran. Iran is something that Israel, this is the last straw for them. If they so they will do something to convict American people that it's now time that you need to change regime in Iran, and they will drag you in the Middle East, because your asset coming daily here, daily, more and more equipment, weapon, batteries, whatever it is, that fleet, everything is in the Middle East. A lot. a lot. And also, from other side, you have Iran, who's receiving from Russia and China. And if I'm at least what I'm seeing around me, I'm 90% sure end of December or October, November, December, when temperature is cooled down, you will have something. For that, something will happen in United States. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Ivy. Thank you. Yeah. Part of the reason you're leaving the Middle East right now, I know you're tired of being there. I mean, it's miserable being in and living amongst all those people walking around in bathrobes. Is part of the reason you're leaving because you see this war as being inevitable?
No, I'm just tired of Middle East, but one of the reasons, yeah, for sure, why I need to be here watching Saudi Arabia intercepting missiles from Yemen, or you can see other just flying around. Saudi Arabia is secure because under United States, but how secure? Qatar was also best ally for the United States, the biggest base, your biggest military base in Qatar, and because Hamas is there, whatever. And when you see that interview when he said Netanyahu new word for woke, right? So all you people who are against any war, any ties with Israel now, he said that he's in war with you guys. And yesterday he said, no, I'm not controlling. Did you see any other world leader to announce first that he didn't kill Charles Kirk, and then after that go to Fox and said, no, I'm not controlling United States and Trump, when he was like filming, people film him when he said we have control on United States Congress like 30 years ago. So this is totally bullshit. Everything is bullshit, and this is only distraction from the bigger things that will come, and it will come.
Yeah. I mean, and they're extremely desperate right now. Netanyahu, they just met with a bunch of influencers in the United States on Friday. And some of those influencers were posting the pictures, that they took with Netanyahu and his wife. Saying, they stand with Israel and starting to push the propaganda, and watching these, right-wing conservative influencers be completely lambasted by their audience for their support for Israel. To me, that's pretty white-pilling. That guy Cam, which was the one on the HBCU that we discussed last week, he got ran off an HBCU last weekend for trying to have, one of the Charlie Kirk ask questions type of events, and they pretty much robbed their camera and ran him off the thing. And
does anybody hear Rush?
Oh, am I missing?
Yeah, I hear him.
Oh, did I lose you, Ivy?
No, you're good now.
I'm sorry, guys. He was made that post saying he's pro-Israel, got completely lambasted for it, ratioed by multiple different people underneath this post. And I think it is going to quickly become a right-wing issue. Are you American first or are you Israel first? And Trump is almost forcing that to the forefront. But I made a post, General great post of Hillary Clinton up there, it's Donald Trump, going to meet with Netanyahu again today. I just have a poll underneath there. I'm curious to what everyone's thoughts are. Will Donald Trump push the chair in for Benjamin Netanyahu for the fourth time again today, as he meets with this foreign leader for the most times of any president in American history meeting with a foreign leader? Like even before World War II, did Winston Churchill not come to America and visit with our foreign leaders so many times, trying to position us to World War II, as Netanyahu's coming to America, which I think they're trying to petition us to go to war in Iran for Israel, and it seems inevitable.
Well, yeah, the post that I have up there too, Rush, is Hillary Clinton sitting there saying that if if we don't censor social media, we're going to lose control. What do? He wants to censor social media. All of our enemies want to censor social media. It's the only way that they can control it. And Netanyahu said the new battlefield is social media. So what's he trying to do? He's trying to control it. He's trying to sit at the head of all the media like they always have. And you have Hillary Clinton saying the same shit. You have Kamala Harris saying it. Now we have Netanyahu saying it. All of our enemies want to shut us up. And that's why we have the First Amendment, the freedom of speech. And they hate it. Tyrants hate freedom of speech. Evil sons of bitches hate freedom of speech. And that's a fact.